There exists a devastating moment in every long-term relationship where she looks at you and no longer sees the man who conquered her heart. She sees the companion of routines, the predictable one, the man who leaves his socks on the floor, the one whose stories she's heard 100 times. That moment where desire transforms into familiarity, where passion becomes comfort, where mystery dissolves into domestic predictability. But what they don't know is that this moment isn't a death sentence, it's an invitation to rebirth. I'm Dr. Anna, and for 15 years I've guided men through love's most challenging territory. How to reclaim the desire of a woman who has already seen you in your pajamas, who knows your morning routines, who can predict your reactions. Today, I'll reveal the secrets of emotional reactivation that can transform familiarity into renewed fascination. What you're about to discover aren't cheap seduction tricks or temporary manipulations. This is the deep science of how the female brain can reignite for someone she thought she knew completely. How routine can become fertile ground for a passion deeper and more mature than the initial spark. Before I reveal what women never say out loud, make sure to subscribe to Hidden Language and hit that notification bell. Every week, we share psychological secrets that transform real relationships. Thousands of men are already seeing what was once invisible. First, understand the cruel irony of long-term relationships. The same thing that creates security kills desire. The same thing that builds trust destroys mystery. The same thing that makes us feel comfortable makes us feel predictable. It's not that she stopped loving you, it's that her brain stopped being surprised by you. And the female brain needs surprise to keep desire alive. Neuroscience teaches us that the brain is designed to pay attention to novelty, to the unexpected, to what breaks familiar patterns. During your relationship's first months, everything about you was novel. How you thought, how you reacted, what made you laugh, how you made love. Her brain was constantly activated, releasing dopamine, creating emotional addiction to you. But the brain is also designed to conserve energy. Once you became predictable, her mind no longer needed to pay you the same intense attention. She categorized you as known and assigned fewer neural resources to process you. What you experience as lost interest is actually brain efficiency. She no longer needs to study you because she believes she's completely decoded you. The first secret to reactivating her fascination is what I call the predictable pattern break. Her brain grew accustomed to your domestic version, but you are complex human beings with facets she's never seen completely. The rebirth of passion begins when we reactivate elements of your personality that had been forgotten or never witnessed. This doesn't mean pretending to be someone you're not. It means allowing authentic parts of yourself that have been dormant in domestic routine to resurface. The man who used to play guitar but stopped doing it in front of her. The one who had deep philosophical opinions but reserves them for conversations with friends. The one who had creative ambitions but put them on pause for the comfort of routine. When she sees you developing a new hobby, pursuing a goal you'd abandoned, expressing a passion she didn't know you had, her brain will recategorize you as interesting instead of predictable. You're not changing who you are, you're revealing who you always were but had stopped showing. Why does this work? Because it breaks the illusion that she knows you completely. It reintroduces the element of discovery that's fundamental to maintaining romantic interest. Her mind starts paying attention to you again because she needs to process new information about you. The second secret is even more powerful: the seduction of the evolved version. The biggest mistake men make in long-term relationships is trying to recreate exactly what they were at the beginning. But you're not the same man you were years ago, and she's not the same woman. The rebirth of passion doesn't come from returning to the past, but from showing her an improved, evolved, more interesting version of who you've become. The woman who loves you wants to see that you're growing, evolving, becoming richer and more complex versions of yourself. When you stagnate in the same version of yourself she knew years ago, her brain interprets that as lack of personal growth, and lack of growth is deeply unattractive to female psychology. But when you surprise her with new interests, deeper perspectives, more ambitious goals, skills you've developed, you're demonstrating that you remain a dynamic man worthy of rediscovery. You're not trying to impress a stranger. You're inviting the woman who loves you to meet the updated version of the person she chose to love. Why does personal evolution reactivate desire better than grand romantic gestures? Because personal growth is sustainable seduction. Gestures are temporary, but a man who continues evolving promises ongoing surprises, future discoveries, a life alongside someone who will never stop being interesting. If this resonates with you, leave me a yes hidden in the comments. The third secret challenges everything you think you know about maintaining a relationship: the power of conscious emotional space. Constant proximity kills desire because it eliminates tension, anticipation, the space necessary for nostalgia and longing to grow. Paradoxically, creating a bit of conscious emotional distance can reactivate her curiosity and desire toward you. This doesn't mean becoming cold or disinterested. It means reclaiming your own individual life, your own rhythms, your own spaces where she doesn't have complete access. When you spend all your free time together, when you share all your experiences, when there's no mystery about how you use your time, you become emotionally predictable. But when you begin having your own experiences, when you develop routines that don't include her, when you have conversations and adventures of which she only hears fragments, you reintroduce the element of curiosity that's fundamental to desire. She begins wondering what you do, how you think, what you experience in those spaces where she's not present. Conscious emotional space means having your own life that's interesting, rich, that generates stories to share with her, experiences that make her feel she's with a man who continues living a fascinating life. It's not about excluding her, but about including her in a life worth living. Why does emotional independence reactivate female desire? Because women are attracted to men who have purpose, direction, their own life. A man who lives solely for the relationship becomes less attractive than one who invites the relationship to be part of a rich and interesting life. The fourth secret is the most subtle and most powerful: reconquest through small details. The rebirth of passion doesn't come from spectacular grand gestures, but from recovering small courtship rituals you abandoned when the relationship became official. These are the micro details that will remind her why she fell in love with you initially. The way you used to look at her when she spoke, as if every word was fascinating. The unexpected comments about her beauty you'd make when she least expected it. The conscious and intentional physical contact, not just the automatic touch of cohabitation. The moments of silence charged with sexual tension you created unconsciously at the beginning. These details work because they awaken emotional memories of when she felt desired, valued, seen in a special way. Her brain automatically associates these behaviors with feelings of initial infatuation and can reactivate those sensations in the present. Silent reconquest happens when she begins feeling like she felt when you were conquering her: special, desired, surprised by her own luck to be with you. She doesn't need to consciously understand what you're doing differently. She just needs to begin feeling different in your presence. Why are small details more effective than grand gestures? Because grand gestures read as exceptional efforts, while small details read as authentic character. She might think a grand gesture is compensation for something, but consistent small details convince her that you genuinely see and value her in a special way. If you feel this message arrived exactly when you needed it, it's no coincidence. You're seeing what they normally hide. Like this video so more men can discover these hidden truths. The fifth secret I must reveal involves what I call the reactivation of emotional polarity. In long relationships, you often become too similar, too comfortable, losing the electric tension that exists between masculine and feminine. The rebirth of passion requires reactivating that polarity, that difference that creates magnetic attraction. This doesn't mean becoming dominant or aggressive. It means recovering your authentic masculine energy, direction, purpose, the ability to make decisions, confidence in your own opinion, willingness to lead when appropriate. Many men, in their desire to be egalitarian partners, have softened their masculinity so much they've eliminated the tension that feeds desire. When you recover your ability to surprise her with decisions, to take initiative in plans, to express your opinions with conviction, to move through the world with clear purpose, you're reactivating the polarity that makes her feel her femininity in contrast to your masculinity. Why does emotional polarity reactivate attraction? Because sexual attraction is based on difference, on tension, on the dance between complementary energies. When you become too emotionally similar, you lose the electricity that feeds physical and emotional desire. The sixth secret is the renewal of deep emotional communication. In long relationships, communication often becomes logistical: schedules, responsibilities, practical decisions. You lose the deep philosophical emotional conversations that connected you initially. The rebirth of passion requires renewing your ability to connect intellectually and emotionally. This means returning to asking about her dreams, her fears, her thoughts about life, her perspectives on the future. It means sharing your own deep thoughts, your vulnerabilities, your aspirations. It means treating her like a fascinating person worth knowing more deeply, not just as the familiar companion of domestic routines. When she feels you remain curious about her inner world, that you value her mind as much as her presence, that you see her as a complex person worthy of continued exploration, her brain recategorizes you from familiar partner to fascinating intellectual companion. The seventh secret involves the renewal of shared adventure. Routine kills passion because it eliminates novelty, but you can create novelty together by exploring new experiences, new places, new activities that challenge your comfort zone as a couple. You don't need to travel to the other side of the world. You can explore new neighborhoods in your own city, try new types of food, attend different cultural events, take classes together, embark on shared creative projects. The important thing is that you're creating new memories, facing challenges together, seeing each other in different contexts. When she sees you navigate new situations, when she observes how you react to unexpected challenges, when she discovers you in contexts where you haven't been together before, she's rediscovering facets of you that routine had hidden. Why does shared adventure reactivate connection? Because creating new experiences together produces the same brain chemicals released during initial infatuation: dopamine, adrenaline, oxytocin. Her brain associates these sensations with you, renewing the association between your presence and intense positive emotional states. The eighth and final secret is perhaps the most important: the renewal of conscious intention. The rebirth of passion doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you consciously decide to re-seduce the woman you love, when you choose to treat your love as something that deserves continuous effort, conscious attention, deliberate emotional investment. This means stopping taking for granted that because she loves you, you don't need to keep striving to be worthy of that love. It means recognizing that every extraordinary relationship requires conscious renewal, that love isn't just a feeling but a practice, a series of daily decisions to choose each other in ways that keep the spark alive. Conscious intention means asking yourself regularly, what can I do today to make her feel special? How can I surprise her? In what way can I be today a version of myself that deserves her love and desire? How can I be today the man who earns her fascination? When she feels you've consciously decided to reconquer her, that you're investing deliberate energy in keeping the magic of your connection alive, her heart responds to that intention. It's not manipulation, it's love in action. It's the decision to never stop courting each other. But there are even deeper aspects of passion's rebirth I must reveal. There exists what I call progressive invisibility syndrome. Gradually, you become so familiar to her that your presence becomes like the air she breathes, essential but not consciously appreciated. She didn't wake up one day deciding she no longer finds you attractive. Simply, day by day, her brain stopped actively processing your presence as something special. This progressive invisibility is devastating because it happens so slowly that neither of you notice it until it's complete. One day you realize she can be in the same room with you for hours without really seeing you, without paying you conscious attention, without experiencing any emotional reaction to your presence. You've become part of the emotional furniture of her life. The rebirth of passion begins when you break this invisibility, when you force her brain to start processing you as a conscious presence instead of a background element. This requires subtle but consistent changes that make her mind have to pay attention to you again. It can be as simple as changing your morning routine, wearing a different cologne, reorganizing the space you share, changing how you dress at home. These aren't dramatic changes, but they're enough for her brain to notice something is different and have to process you consciously again. The ninth secret for reactivating her desire involves what I call conscious sexual tension creation. In long relationships, physical contact becomes automatic, predictable, stripped of the electricity that existed at the beginning. You touch her in the same ways, at the same moments, with the same intensity, until her body no longer reacts to your touch as something special. Reactivating sexual tension requires you to touch her again as if it were the first time, with conscious intention, with total presence, with the ability to surprise her physically. This means physical contact that doesn't predict where it's going, that creates anticipation, that makes her conscious of her body and yours in ways she had forgotten. I'm not talking only about sexual contact. I'm talking about the way you take her hand, how you look at her when she speaks, how you position yourself in space relative to her, how you create moments of physical proximity that make her feel your masculine presence consciously. Why can conscious physical contact reactivate desire better than elaborate romantic gestures? Because the body has emotional memory, and when you touch her in ways that awaken those memories of initial attraction, you're accessing her nervous system directly, not just her rational mind. The 10th secret involves renewing your own relationship with yourself. One reason women lose interest in long relationships is because they feel their partners have stopped investing in their own personal growth, have become too comfortable, have lost the ambition and drive that initially attracted them. The man she met had dreams, goals, passions that motivated him. He had a rich relationship with himself, interests that excited him, a fascinating inner life. If you've allowed the comfort of the relationship to replace your personal growth impulse, she has unconsciously lost respect for you, and it's impossible to desire someone you don't respect. Passion's renewal requires you to become men worthy of respect again, not just comfortable companions. This means retaking goals you'd abandoned, developing new skills, challenging yourselves in ways that make you grow as individuals. When she sees you investing in your own development, she automatically recategorizes you as valuable men instead of comfortable partners. Why does masculine personal growth reactivate female desire more than efforts directed toward her? Because women are attracted to men who value themselves enough to invest in their own growth. A man who has stagnated sends her the message that he himself doesn't consider himself worthy of evolution, and that's deeply unattractive. The 11th secret is the renewal of intellectual romance. In long relationships, you often stop sharing ideas, debating, intellectually challenging each other. You lose the ability to surprise each other with thoughts, to learn something new from each other, to feel you're growing mentally together. She fell in love not just with your physical appearance or personality, but also with your mind, with the way you thought about the world, your unique opinions, your ability to make her see things from new perspectives. If you've stopped feeding your own intellectual life, you've lost one of seduction's most powerful tools. Intellectual romance renewal means returning to reading, learning, exploring new ideas, developing informed opinions about topics that passion you. It means bringing stimulating conversations to your relationship, intellectually challenging her, showing her you remain men worth conversing with deeply. When she feels you continue evolving mentally, that you have interesting things to share, that you can make her think in new ways, you're reactivating a form of attraction more sustainable than purely physical or emotional attraction. The 12th secret involves creating what I call renewed value memories. One reason she may have lost interest is because your most recent memories together are mundane, routine, lacking emotional significance. Your shared memory bank is filled with ordinary moments that generate no special emotion when she remembers them. Passion's rebirth requires creating new memories that have emotional weight, moments she'll remember with a smile, experiences that make her feel fortunate to be with you. They don't need to be extravagant or expensive, but they do need to be special, unique, charged with intention and meaning. It could be a small but thoughtful surprise, an impromptu adventure, a moment of shared vulnerability, a new experience you navigate together. The important thing is that these memories counteract the accumulation of routine with moments of authentic connection that renew her appreciation for what you have together. Why are renewed value memories crucial for reactivating desire? Because women process love and attraction through emotional memories. If the most recent memories are boring, her brain concludes the relationship is boring. But if you create new memories that generate positive emotions, you're rewriting her emotional narrative about you. The 13th secret is the renewal of expressed mutual appreciation. In long relationships, you often stop expressing appreciation for things you do for each other, taking for granted the gestures of love, care, and support you exchange daily. This lack of mutual recognition creates an emotionally arid environment where neither feels especially valued. Passion's renewal requires returning to seeing and expressing gratitude for the ways she enriches your life, not just the big things, but the daily details that make your life together beautiful. When she feels you really see and value what she brings to the relationship, she feels inspired to keep contributing, to keep being the extraordinary woman you recognize in her. But it also requires ensuring she expresses appreciation for you. You can't be the only ones giving recognition, you also need to receive it. A relationship where only one person expresses appreciation becomes unbalanced and eventually resentful. The 14th secret involves the renewal of play and fun. Many long relationships become too serious, too focused on responsibilities and obligations, losing the ability to play, laugh, be spontaneous together. Constant seriousness kills the lightness that feeds attraction. She fell in love with you when you could make her laugh, when you could be spontaneous, when you could turn ordinary moments into small adventures. If you've lost that capacity for play, you've lost a crucial dimension of your original attractiveness. Play renewal can be as simple as returning to joking, creating moments of shared laughter, being spontaneous with plans, introducing elements of surprise into your routine. It's not about being immature, but about keeping alive the part of you that can find joy and fun in everyday life. The 15th and final secret I must reveal is perhaps the deepest: the renewal of authentic vulnerability. Paradoxically, one reason women lose interest in long relationships is because their partners become too comfortable, too predictable, losing the ability to be vulnerable in ways that generate deep emotional intimacy. The vulnerability that existed at your relationship's beginning, when you shared fears, dreams, insecurities, personal stories, created intense emotional intimacy. But in long relationships, you often stop sharing your inner world deeply, assuming you already know each other completely. Passion's rebirth requires finding new layers of vulnerability to share, new dimensions of your internal experience she hasn't seen before. This might mean sharing current fears, dreams you're developing, reflections about your life and future, emotions you're processing. When she feels you trust her enough to show her new parts of your soul, when she feels she continues discovering who you really are inside, you're creating the kind of emotional intimacy that feeds sustainable passion. Vulnerability renewal also requires creating space for her to share new vulnerability with you, so you feel you continue discovering each other at deeper levels, so the relationship remains a space of mutual emotional growth. The passion rebirth I've revealed today isn't a quick fix, it's a constant practice. It's understanding that extraordinary relationships don't happen by accident, but by conscious decision to continue being worthy of the love we receive, to keep evolving as fascinating individuals, to never stop seeing our partner as someone worthy of continuous conquest. The woman who already knows you isn't a terminal familiarity sentence. She's an invitation to show her you're men who will never stop surprising her, growing, evolving in ways that keep her interest and desire alive. Mature love isn't less passionate than new love. It's deeper, richer, more satisfying when cultivated with wisdom and intention. Familiarity only kills passion when we allow it to kill growth, curiosity, the intention to remain extraordinary for the person we choose to love. But when we use the security of established love as fertile ground for deeper and more authentic seduction, we discover that the best love of our lives may be coming, not behind us. If you made it this far, you're already part of this forbidden circle. Subscribe now and discover what no one else dares to confess about the female mind.